Hello, Temple Beth Am. I'm trying to record this outdoors for the first time. I hope there aren't too many distractions and that it sounds okay. I know I didn't send out a Shabbat video last Shabbat, so if you were looking for one and expecting one, I apologize. If you were relieved not to feel any pressure to listen to a Shabbat video from Rabbi Klickfeld, then you're welcome. Here's a short three-part video, a little bit of a communal update, a little bit of a Dvar Torah, and a meditation. So the communal update, three things, each of which deserve much more time than I'm going to give it. An email already went out a week from Sunday at 7:30 p.m. I forgot the date. I think it's the 12th. We're going to have a town hall, an opportunity for me and Stuart, our new shul president, and other Temple Beth Am leaders to present to as many of you who come, and I hope many of you come, excuse me, some of the thinking and planning we've been doing about what our community means and stands for and is trying to do during this time. There have been, I know, periods of silence where you haven't gotten a whole lot of information from us. It's not because we haven't been thinking and planning and trying to make things happen. It's that the circumstances change very quickly, and because so much is at stake, we're trying to get as much buy-in as possible from as many layers of leadership as possible. I know that those are all just kind of words to you, but we want to share some of that with you. High holiday planning, Shabbat planning, and what we think about when we imagine reopening the building for any kind of in-person gathering and for the school in August. So please join us for about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half for some information from us, from Q&A that is stimulated by you, and an opportunity also to meet in some small groups and have some sharing. I also want to let you know that, again, as things change so quickly, you're probably aware that the governor and the county and the city made even more stringent regulations as of yesterday, saying that even outdoor worship services, which had been one of the things that had been really permitted, can now not happen if there's any singing whatsoever. This notion that when we sing, we emit yet more air than even when we're just speaking. And because of that, that scuttled plans that we were about to announce to you in an email today, which is that we were hoping that next Friday night, I guess July 10th, we were going to try for a registration only, limited at 50 people, outdoors on the field, Kabbalat Shabbat. We were going to try for that as an experiment to see what could happen logistically and as a data point to help us figure out what might be possible on the high holidays. We are suspending that for now. For now, when the restrictions pull back and there is more permissibility for us to be together and sing even when we are distant, we will try that again. But just know that we are thinking through every possible way to try to continue to reach you, be with you, sing with you, pray with you, and do community with you when the circumstances and the regulations and the health guidelines change every single time. So look out for that, because we hopefully will be able to announce something like that soon, and we're almost certain that we're going to do Tisha B'Av in about 4 weeks outdoors on the field, because Tisha B'Av is a non-singing holiday. In fact, it's a holiday where we don't even speak to each other because we're so sad and weighed down by our mourning of the destruction of Jerusalem. We're not even supposed to say hello and goodbye to each other. We recite the book of RAK at a very low tone with no projection. So we will try to stage that outdoors in about 4 weeks, and please look for information about that. While I'm on that topic, we also are going to work with Ikar and B'nai David again to do a Zoom-only opportunity to bring the three communities together to end Tisha B'Av with some study and some together time, as we have been doing for years, so look out for information on that. Third thing, I want to give you an update that a few weeks ago I announced that I and some members of the Temple Beth Am community were going to be partnering with James Collins, who many of you know used to work at Temple Beth Am, who was a leader in several different local black churches, with him and some of his colleagues to develop a partnership, a brotherhood, a working relationship between our synagogue and at least one, if not more than one, local black faith community. It's taken some time to get that off the ground, but we had our first planning meeting this past week. I didn't want you to think that our not reporting on that suggested that it wasn't happening. It is. We had really a wonderful Zoom gathering amongst the leadership that's going to be planning it, and we're actually thinking about the first event to bring out to all of you. So that is still being worked on. I would rather do it right than do it quickly. I know that we're living in an era where people want immediate responses to crises, and I understand why. I would rather do this right and carefully and deliberately than rush it. So I appreciate your patience. That's the communal update. And now the little piece of Torah. Any of you know the song? I think it's a poem. It's a music to a poem written by Chaim Nachman Bialik. Nahad Nade nadned. Red ale vared. It's a song about people on a seesaw. A nadned is a seesaw that goes back and forth and back and forth. And red ole or leva red, go down, go up, go up, go down. And it's a beautiful poem talking about the balance that is required to keep a relationship intact, and that it's never like this. You never see a seesaw like this. You always see a seesaw like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Or you can imagine memories from a childhood where you're trying to balance exactly on the fulcrum. It's very hard because a tiny bit of movement on one side sends the other one up or down. I think of that image when I think of a wonderful paradox. Except the more you think about it, it's not paradoxical. It seems paradoxical, but it's actually quite not paradoxical. In a dynamic in the opening lines of Parshat Hukkat, we're reading Parshat Hukkat and Balak this Shabbat. Hukkat begins with a bizarre and wonderful ancient ritual of the para aduma, the red heifer. In the ancient world, when someone had been exposed to a corpse, which was the most potent form of tum'ah, a word which we often translate, I think, poorly as impurity. I don't think it ever meant impure the way the English word means impure, but a life-ebbing force that comes upon you when you're in contact with the absence of life. If you would come into contact with a corpse, which was the highest presentation of that tum'ah, and that would happen quite frequently in the ancient world because there was no funeral homes. If someone died in your family or friends, you personally attended to it. The way you went from tum'ah to tahara, which again we often indelicately translate as purity. I don't think it's about purity. I think it's about life force positively. The way you would transition from tum'ah to tahara was through the kohen, who had to be tahor, had to be life full at the beginning of the ceremony, administering to you an admixture, a potion that was created with the ashes of a very rare animal, a para aduma, a blemishless red heifer. What's interesting to me about that ritual, whether or not it ever really happened the way the Torah described, is that the Torah was aware of something quite before its time that we now know of, particularly those of us in the helping fields, that by administering to the person who was tameh, life-ebbing, the admixture of the para aduma, the kohen, who started off tahor, life-flowing, did not end the ceremony as he started. He ends the ceremony tameh, life-ebbing, which means he begins at one part of the seesaw, depending on how to look at it, maybe on the downside, right? Or maybe on the upside because he's got life flowing through him. But the process of delivering that life force to someone else, he ends up on the other side of it, and then he needs another Kohen to administer to him a similar ritual so that he can be restored. What I like about that is that it is not at all romantic about the idea that one can give and offer and restore and administer help to someone else and not have that drain you in some meaningful life force way, some meaningful spiritual, emotional, psychological way. This was not a magical ritual. The Kohen was a real life human being. And for him to give as much of his self that was required to restore the tahara to this person who had been drained from the encounter with the corpse, it was going to take something out of that Kohen. And then he was going to be in a situation of needing help, a hand, an embrace, a restoration from someone else. Again, like the seesaw. You're down at the bottom of that seesaw. In the seesaw analogy, it's actually when you're on the bottom that you have the control. So we have to flip it in our mind. Normally we think of the bottom as being the lesser one. But when you're at the bottom of the seesaw, your legs are poised, you're in contact with the ground, you're in control, you've got the energy. As soon as you push up, it all gets transferred to the next person on the other side. And you're hanging. And you are reliant on then doing something to be able to somehow transmit that energy back to you. Gosh, I feel this so powerfully in so many of my relationships and encounters these days. I go minute by minute, week, hour by hour, day by day, feeling that I'm up in energy and low in energy, feeling like I have enough within me to give to others, and that I am in need of others, friends, relatives, children, spouse, you, to restore some of the elan, some of the tahara, of the life force that we all need to get through all times, and particularly challenging times. What I want to offer to you as we read Parshat Hukkat is allow yourself to be as human as the Kohen was, offering your vitality when you have it to those who need it, who cannot find their way back to vitality without you. And don't be ashamed, and don't be surprised, and don't be embarrassed when you're in the position of needing to take it from someone else. That is the dynamic of life ebbing and flowing. That is the dynamic of the great seesaw of reality. That is what it means to be in relationship with people whom you trust and who trust you, to whom you can offer yourself, and upon whom you can rely when you need that help coming back to you. And I offer you that on all days that I can, and even on days when it's hard for me to, I'm present for you. I'm here for you, to give you tahara, if I can offer any of it, to give you strength during a time when it feels that there's so much weakness around us. So please ask. And I love you, and I miss you, and Shabbat Shalom. So if you don't want to meditate, you can log off. And if you do want to meditate, please stay for a few seconds. I ask you to close your eyes. And this meditation will be a little bit different than past ones because I'm outdoors, which means there are more distractions that I both want to push to the periphery of my consciousness and that you might be hearing through the microphone on the computer. But perhaps it makes it more real because there's no such thing as a truly pristine environment in which to meditate. The world is loud. Our minds are loud. We build cocoons of serenity within the cacophony, not by eliminating those sounds. So sometimes it's a healthy challenge to try to create that space of quiet when there are more things that could be pulling at your mind. You can have your feet solid on the ground beneath you, feeling that point of contact, that embrace. And I encourage you to have either your hands on your legs, palm down, a point of touch between you and yourself, a gentle embrace during an era where we are hungry, starved for embraces with people that we no longer can really touch. Or you can turn your palms up, which is a stance of openness and acceptance of whatever comes and of connection to the heavens above you. And release everything. Let your spine do 98% of the work against the gravity of the earth. Let your shoulders sag into their sockets. Let your belly be supple. We're always holding in our belly, clenching our belly, using our core muscles to pretend our belly is one shape or another. What a lovely release just to let it go. Let it be the shape that it is, and to love it as it is. Let your eyeballs fall deep into their sockets, uncrinkling the lines around your eyes, straightening out your forehead so that you don't have a furrowed brow, at least for a few seconds. Let your jaw be slack and even a little bit open, making the O shape, like the face of a baby who is experiencing wonder. And now imagine that seesaw, that fulcrum. Nadned, aleh vared. Go up, go down. Tahor, tameh. Life flowing, life ebbing. You're at the bottom, poised, ready, filled with the energy It's trapped in your legs. Push up off it. And immediately you're vulnerable, reliant, dangling in the air, waiting for someone to bring you back to a comfortable place. Tahor Tameh. In this world of the Nadned, there is no stasis. There is no perfect balance. There is constant flux, discombobulating flux, but a flux that puts you in relationship with so many whom you are giving to, whom you are receiving from. Where are you on that seesaw, that Nadnei, the Shabbat begins? Filled with a life force and ready to offer it? Or dangling, hoping that someone will notice and give some of their energy to you? Are you overflowing with vitality such that it would be parsimonious for you not to share it with another? You have more than you need. Why? You don't know. You just do. You're doing okay. You're doing well. You're strong and you're vital. Or are you ebbing? Are you a half moon, shrouded in shadow? Waiting for someone to share their light with you? Might you be both this Shabbat? Down on the seesaw with some in your life, with something to offer them, and up on the seesaw with others, waiting for them to extend themselves to you. Nadned. Seesaw. Ale vared. Go up, go down. Tahor Tameh. Tahor Tameh. Life flowing. Life ebbing. But very much alive. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. The second line of that poem is Mala 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 Mata. What's up and what's down? RAK Ani Va'ata. Just me and you. That's all there is. We are up, we are down, and we are doing it together. I miss you. I love you. Shabbat Shalom.